We're here back in the fantasy bar. It's football season, and we are back with 6 of my favorite plays on FanDuel and DraftKings, including a cheap running back I think is in a great spot. A quarterback I think can finish as the highest scoring one without all the ownership. Some of my favorite correlation plays, and of course, my favorite play of the week. Who we talking about? Belly up to the fantasy barn. Find out. Welcome in, guys. Week 1 edition. NFL is back, and we are here. 6 guys fresh off the tap for you on FanDuel and DraftKings for Week 1. Thank you so much for stopping by the fantasy bar and checking out the video. If you have been here over all the years of the fantasy bar, you know the drill. 6 picks each and every week. If you are new to the video and the fantasy bar, welcome in. We are glad to have you here. Now, before we get into the plays, couple things. First off, if you're watching on YouTube, take a second, click that thumbs up button. That's the tip jar here. As I always say in the fantasy bar, this video coming to you free of charge. That's all we ask in return. You do that, you subscribe to the channel, get notified when these videos are coming out. Going to be doing 2 videos for the NFL each and every week, a 6-pack video of DFS plays, also a sports betting video with 2 of my favorite NFL bets each and every week. So make sure you're subscribed. You don't miss out on any of the content. And speaking of sports betting, guys, you got to go check out scoresandodds.com/beer. That link in the description of the video. Tons of great information there on every single NFL game. And it's not just football. If you're still grinding baseball, all of the other sports as well. The ability to compare odds across all the different sports books, see who's betting on who, and premium picks from some of your favorite RotoGrinders personalities on these games, myself included, will be providing you with NFL picks this season. Tons there. Go and check it out today. Scoresandodds.com/beer. Again, that link in the description of the video. All right, let's get into it. Week 1, always a fun week. Lots of big tournaments out there. Potential overlay brewing as well. And we'll stick to the main slate here with my favorite plays. Let's start at the wide receiver position, A.J. Brown of the Eagles. Now, still weird to say the Eagles here. A.J. Brown, longtime Tennessee Titan, but he comes over in that draft day trade here to the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think this is going to be a smash season for Brown and the Eagles. Last time these 2 teams met up, game was in Detroit last season. Eagles absolutely dominated this Detroit Lions team 44-6. I know there's a lot of excitement around the Lions right now, coming off of Hard Knocks, and a team a lot of people are betting on to outproduce their win total here. But I think Philly, just the much better team here in this one. I think what we're going to see here, as far as ownership goes, we don't know what this offense is going to look like. We know Philadelphia can be very run-heavy with that great offensive line. Questions on Jalen Hurts. Can he get it done through the air? I think that's going to help us in the ownership department. I think people are going to have questions on this one, and they're going to look elsewhere to some of these higher total games that we have on the slate. But this matchup, absolutely ideal. And Philly going to want to get their new toy involved right away. Detroit, 5th most receptions allowed, 2 wide receivers last season, 2nd most receiving yards allowed. And I don't see any changes in that defense that are going to get them better here. Maybe offensively, they're going to be able to compete, keep this game close. I think A.J. Brown going to absolutely dominate this secondary of the Detroit Lions. All right, let's get to the running back position. Tons of options here. We're going to go on this cheaper side of things with Chase Edmonds of the Dolphins. So another guy that changes teams here. They paid him a lot of money. I know Raheem Mostert going to work in, very familiar with McDaniel and that San Francisco system here. But Edmonds is the guy, and you're going to see low ownership for a few reasons. We have tons of running backs, tons of studs on this slate. No bye week set, so lots of choices for people to be made. There's a lot of cheaper wide receiver options on the slate here, especially on DraftKings. That's going to lead to a lot of Christian McCaffreys, Dalvin Cooks, guys like that in the lineup. Can Chase Edmonds compete with those guys? Maybe the ceiling isn't as high, but I think he can get close enough and really drastically outproduce his salary, which is what we're looking for with our plays. He also has that questionable tag. That's going to scare some people away, so should see minuscule ownership here on Chase Edmonds. These prices seem a little bit too low. I mean, this is a guy I would not be surprised we're paying $7K for, and that's one of the things I love to look at early in the season. Who are guys we're buying low on? What are their prices going to look like towards the middle of the season? I feel this is the lowest we're going to get on Chase Edmonds, so don't wait. Let's buy in now here against New England, a defense that, yes, can be good, but they struggle against running backs, specifically pass-catching running backs. Last season, bottom 10 in rushing yards allowed, receptions, and receiving yards to the running back position. So no, Miami brought in Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Chase Edmonds, still going to be a big part of that passing game as well. Good matchup here, home favorite, checks that box for us, and simply too cheap and too low owned Chase Edmonds, one of my favorite running backs here on the week. All right, let's get to the quarterback position. I promise you a guy with big time upside and little ownership. We're going Lamar Jackson of Baltimore. Now, this contract situation with Lamar Jackson, it's all we've heard about all offseason. All of these other guys getting paid while he sits there like the John Travolta gif, saying, what the hell, where's my money? I think that's really going to fuel him into an MVP-like season, which we've already seen out of Lamar Jackson. So I think big-time numbers are incoming here. We also have the running back situation here. We don't know what's going to happen here with J.K. Dobbins. I'd expect him to either sit or be limited in this game. Then you're down to guys like Kenyon Drake, Mike Davis. I think Lamar Jackson going to be the primary ball carrier here, to no surprise for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, quarterbacks, we got some high total, high marquee games. Mahomes and Kyler Murray going at it. In that one, Justin Herbert. A lot of ways that people can go at the quarterback situation. I think Lamar Jackson finishes as the top quarterback on this slate, and ownership looks like it's going to be sub 10%. Now, quarterback generally doesn't get a ton of ownership here, but this could be a 5-6% play. You don't have to pair him up, but you certainly have candidates in tight end Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman here. The Jets, 5th most fantasy points allowed to the quarterback position. Oh, they made some upgrades on that defense through the draft. I don't know they did enough to slow this guy down. Ravens should roll. Lamar Jackson, my favorite quarterback of the week. All right, we said we could pair Lamar Jackson. We're going to do that, but we're going to do it on the other side of the game. A little correlation with wide receiver Elijah Moore. So don't forget to correlate the other side. They'll run it back, as they like to say, and it doesn't always have to be a game stack. It can be a one-off play like Elijah Moore. Now, Joe Flacco under center here for the Jets. I know that can be some concern for some people. I think it's going to be better than what they get with Zach Wilson. We know this guy's a proven veteran in this league. Flacco started one game last season, and Elijah Moore was his target. 11 targets in that game, went for 8 receptions, 141 yards, and a touchdown in that one. And Moore, another guy. These prices are too cheap. This is the floor for what his pricing will be. Really expecting a breakout here, which is what we saw to him towards the end of last season here. Now, Baltimore 7-point favorites in this one. Jets likely playing from behind, so throwing the ball a ton. That's great for Elijah Moore. And the Ravens defense, generally good or not good against wide receivers last season. 3rd most receiving yards allowed to wide receivers, 3rd most fantasy points allowed. We'll see if they right the ship this year. A lot of things to like here about Elijah Moore, one of my favorite receivers in the mid-range here for week 1. All right, let's go to the tight end position. We know we got some studs up top, Kelsey, Andrews. I'm going to give you another stud that we can save some money on. That's Kyle Pitts of Atlanta. So Pitts, in some of the best ball drafts you've been doing all season long, you're really starting to see him rise up the rankings, and with good reason. This guy is an absolute stud at the position, a unicorn, and a guy that I do think can compete with Travis Kelsey in that high total game, with Mark Andrews about the Ravens we just talked about here. The Falcons underdogs in this game, so likely throwing a bunch, and the Saints defense, very good against the run, very good on the boundaries, not so great in the middle of the field, and they're going to use Pitts more in that inline role where he's going to get these kind of matchups with the weak part of this Saints defense. So let's take advantage of that. Drake London questionable. We don't know what that looks like. So I get the concerns. If he's out, they're just going to double team Kyle Pitts. I don't think it's going to matter, guys. I think this guy is that good here. There's not much competition for targets in this one. Mariota, not as bad as people are painting him out to be. 10 plus targets likely in this one. Would not be surprised to see that. I think at these prices, he does that. He's right there with the Kelseys, with the Andrews of the world, especially on DK where you're racking up those receptions. Kyle Pitts, my favorite tight end play of the week. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for week 1. Before we do that, we want to run a little contest here. And again, if you're familiar with the Fantasy Bar, you know we've been doing this for quite some time. We call it the Beast of the Week contest. All you got to do, get in the comment section right below the video and guess fantasy points on DraftKings for my Beast of the Week. The closest guess to their actual production is going to win themselves a free week of RotoGrinders Premium, a chance to check everything out behind the scenes. So absolutely free. Why not get in that contest? And while you're down there in the comment section, who's your Beast of the Week? Who's your favorite play on this slate, I should say? Let's sound off and let's talk some plays in that YouTube comment section. All right, let's get to it. My favorite play for week 1, you know him as the Beast of the Week. All right, Beast time, we're going to get you some more correlation here. We're going to go to the other side of that Atlanta and New Orleans game. We're rolling with running back ALVIN KAMARA, this week's Beast of the Week. Now, you're going to notice in the video, we did not include anybody from Kansas City, Arizona, Chargers, Raiders. Guys, those games are loaded up with plays. You could play pretty much everybody in those games, so no need for me to bog down the six-pack with plays from those high total games. You guys already know to go there. Wanted to get some spots outside of those games, and this is certainly one of those games that does not stand out on the marquee, but a game I think has a lot of interesting pieces. Headlined by ALVIN KAMARA. Week 18 last season, 146 rushing yards for KAMARA against this Falcons defense. Gives you that high ceiling at the running back position, a guy that can compete with the Christian McCaffreys, Derrick Henrys of the world, but looks to be on the lower end of the ownership. And again, reason why this total is not high. A lot of people looking at some of those totals. Derrick Henry in a good spot at home, McCaffrey, bunch of names that are in good spots here. KAMARA could be right there, if not atop the heap of all of these plays at the end of week 1. Why not take advantage of this minuscule ownership here? Atlanta, bottom 10 in pretty much every category against running backs. Rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, receptions, fantasy points. Does that not describe ALVIN KAMARA to a T? Does all of those things well. I know Mark Ingram going to work in, but KAMARA going to be the focus of this offense here and going to be the focus of my lineups in week 1. ALVIN KAMARA, easily my favorite play on the board in this week's Beast of the Week. All right, guys, that'll do it here for week 1. Good to be back talking some football. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the video. Again, make sure you've hit that thumbs up button if you have not already. Thank you for that. Helps us out tremendously on YouTube. Don't forget your guess for ALVIN KAMARA's fantasy points on DraftKings for a chance to win some free RotoGrinders Premium. Subscribe to the channel. Keep an eye out for that sports betting video as well. Should be following this one shortly, so keep an eye out for that. And thank you so much for watching. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salut, guys. Again, best of luck in week 1. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you hanging out here in the Fantasy Bar. Good luck, and we'll see you.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist